comments regarding the report and possibly maybe also regarding the presentation. I pretty enjoyed reading your thesis. It's very nice, and also probably you also know, and also some of your colleagues know, some areas quite correlated with what we are doing in our group as well. So it's also a lot of inspirations to us as well. So that's pretty good. And but some things I would think about could be better if you, of course, just have suggestions. As I understood, your thesis is a kind of a combination of a number of papers, right? It's not a monograph thesis. So, but when I read through, what I get some feeling that it's like, oh, okay, this kind of summary. In some way, I expected to see what's the detailed formulas, but unfortunately, I couldn't see that. Of course, that's just my personal appetite. But I would like to see, for example, especially in your active path following and constraint optimization part you mentioned, and also it's from your presentation. Also, you mentioned you're handling the optimization problem. Give the objective function subject to number of constraints. Especially the first line you wrote satisfy the multiple equations. Mm-hmm. So from that, oh yeah, that's great. You mentioned you defined 20 over 20 or even 30 equations. I don't want to say all of them, but where is the bunch of the equations? So I would like to see some kind of a sum up of those equations that you can reference to this block. Say, okay, subject to these equations, which equation, blah, 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 right? So that's one of the things I would like to see. Of course, just my personal appetite. Second thing regarding the kind of symbolic notation. In some way, I noticed, of course, I hope this is the final version of one, missing some part at the beginning called nomenclature. Nomenclature. Sorry, my pronunciation. You have me.
Yeah, you said it perfectly.
Okay. Sorry. Nomenclature, something like that. Because one of the things I noticed, for example, you're using the epsilon, right, with some specific subscript and subscript. So one part you mentioned, for example, epsilon in, which indicate water cut in the inlet, for example, for the separator. Some part you use epsilon indicate the efficiency. No, sorry, not the efficiency. Sorry, the concentration, right? The ppm. Is that right?
Can I?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So most cases, epsilon is described as a volume fraction, which means volume of something. Yeah. Let's say volume of oil divided by the total volume. If it is a mixture of oil plus water, then volume of oil plus volume of water. When it goes to ppm, it's because this is a fraction and these numbers are very small. So if this is, let's say, if it's 1,000 ppm, it will be written as 0.1%.
Okay.
And that is not even a fraction. It will become 0.001.
Just hold a little bit. Okay, I see. What's the ppm unit?
ppm unit is ppm. Or it is, it's usually ppm is described as
milligram per liter.
Milligram per
which
liter.
Which is a mass over volume.
Yeah.
But if you talk about, you know what my question is?
I know. So I have used always milliliter plus, I've used, not milliliter, but the volume equivalent of milligram divided by liter.
Yeah, because from the volume ratio to the mass ratio of the volume, which you have the density issues, right? Especially talking about oil density is not one.
No.
So that's something a little bit alert when I check some of the data plottings. You say this is a water cut, or this is the oil concentration. Somehow I need to be a little bit alert. So if you generate the nomenclature, you might be able to correct that by yourself. Right? So due to this missing part, that's, I guess, that's caused a little bit confusion to me. Of course, I know this is not a crucial issues. Specific number to you doesn't make much things, right? It's 100 or 120. For you, for your development, it's not crucial, right? So that's the things I would like to recommend, for example, in the filter. Further things that regarding your list of literatures, I asked Johannes, is that a template? For example, when I read your thesis, it's a very nice. You have a lot of, you have over 100 reference listed over there, and I noticed that some of your modern work heavily relied on one of the Delft PhD thesis. If I remember, it's called Van den Kamp. Yeah. So that's this is a very crucial literature you use to try to find this guy. Then when I open this, I couldn't find here. I did several times, but then I found this literature you list at near the end of your reference list. So then that's a little bit puzzle to me. How do you define the order for listing your literatures? You are not following 1, 2, 3, 4 this kind of, right? You are following like alpha ways. You name the names of the authors, but you are not following the alphabet. So what kind of order you are listing your literatures? So you can see your last page.
I think this is alphabetically.
Because if you call it alphabet is the same. Start with C, right?
It's alphabetically, but it's alphabetically by the last name. So the first one is Anderson, the second one is Anderson, the third one is Thompson, fourth one is Arvo. So these are second.
In Dutch, when you use the phone content, it should sort on the C.
No, it will sort on B.
Well,
okay.
It depends on how you created the.
Okay. So that's at least we got how you define the orders. Okay. Yeah, because that's I think that's just my personal observation. That's a little bit hesitate. Spend a little bit more time to find this. But otherwise, it's quite okay. So that's in general comments. And then I will start a little bit questions. And even though it would be nice if you tell us earlier that we can skip reading the chapter 1 up to chapter 4. No, of course, I can see some of your work based on previous chapters, right? So in that perspective, I also have some questions for your previous chapters. I start with a general question, could be or maybe connection to your morning's talk, a little bit in kind of maybe terminology issues. So when we talked about process or processes, or systems, do you pay attention to the difference of these two, or you regard them just okay, it's the same thing? Because you sometimes will see I'm modeling separator. Sometimes talking about I'm modeling the separation process. Do you see some difference, or do you notice, or do you